Hi, my name is Lorenzo Hogans II, paramedic and Christian author, and today's video newsletter topic today is going to be how to spot a cheater. Have you ever felt like you've been cheated on? Have you ever confirmed that you've been cheated on? It's not a very good feeling, is it? I think we've all got that, at least one person somewhere in the mix where the thought at least crossed our mind, and we'll go ahead and label that one. We'll go ahead and label that person that one over there. Not so sure about that one. It's an unnerving feeling to be in the workplace, to be taking care of errands, to be, any responsibilities that you may have where you're apart from the person and you're thinking to yourself in the back of your mind, and you've got that turning, that churning feeling in your stomach, like, I really hope they're not cheating on me right now. Like, I've called them, they have not answered the phone, I've texted, and they have not answered, that kind of stuff. So what I want to discuss today is one or two stories to kind of give an example of how dramatic it can get, and also, most importantly, what the Bible has to say about adultery and how you can spot it. Because ultimately, as your advocate, I do not want you to get into that situation to begin with. It's a very ugly, unnerving, disgusting, distasteful thing to be involved in, to be cheated on, or to be doing the cheating. And so, as a wise man once told me, hey man, if you can't trust someone, you don't need to be with them. And sometimes we understand that advice, but we like the person so much, it's like, I'm going to roll the dice, I'm going to see where it goes, I'm going to hope for the best. But there is a very big issue already if you do not trust a person. It stresses the relationship out, and it's just not worth it ultimately. I am sorry, it's not worth it, because I want what's best for you, okay? So we're going to start out with a video here, and this comes straight out of the Washington Post. This is as recent as, this story just came out a couple hours ago, according to this article. And the headline reads, "No jail for Portuguese man who beat ex-wife because her adultery assaulted his honor." Now, I agree with that last part. It is an insult to a man's honor or a woman's honor, whoever the victim is of the cheating. But it does not, I repeat, it does not give someone the right to put hands on another person. Now, you will be feeling that way. Trust me. Especially the deeper the emotions you have for that person. You've heard the stories, people going at length to get some revenge, because emotions are a very powerful thing. Those hormones get to turning, those emotions get to rising, and one thing leads to the next. Next thing you know, you are in jail, or you are, doing something that you have no business doing, because it's a retaliation act. So the article goes, "About 3 years ago, a married Portuguese woman began seeing another man. The affair was brief, and after 2 months, the woman wanted to end it. And so she did. In response, the woman's former lover turned to her husband, telling him his wife had been unfaithful. Ugh. According to Portuguese media outlets, the couple divorced. But the two men, both enraged, worked together to plan an attack on the woman. In June 2015, the former paramour kidnapped the woman and held her down while the ex-husband beat her viciously with a nail-spiked club, leaving bruises and lashes all over her body." That makes you cringe. That makes me cringe. After charges were filed in the assault, the ex-husband was given a 15-month suspended sentence and a fine of about $2,000, according to the Associated Press. A prosecutor thought he deserved a harsher sentence and asked an appeals court in Porto, Portugal's second largest city, for prison time of 3 years and 6 months. but the appeals judges decided against it. Now, that is a saddening story, and it's unfortunate, but I read that story, that latest article that just came out, to say that it should never get to that point, ladies and gentlemen. It should never get to that point, you know. Again, if you do not trust someone, you do not need to be with them. It's as simple as that. Why go through the misery? Why put yourself through that? Life is too short to be stressing yourself over a situation that you're already uncomfortable with, you know. I ran a call one time at about 1:30 in the morning. Okay, and it was definitely one of the more dramatic calls that I've been on, and so I'll just go ahead and share it with you. So we respond to a house, and there's a lady sitting in this room. Now, initially getting through the door, there's a dog barking all over. He's jumping on me, jumping on my partner. It's a big dog too, and that's one thing that I just want to say on a side note, real quick, ladies and gentlemen. If you call 911 and you have pets, it would do us paramedics a very big favor if you would put them away, because they are a distraction. We don't have anything against your dogs or your cats or whatever you've got, going on. Snakes, birds, whatever you've got. If you could just put them away when you call 911, we would greatly appreciate it, because it interferes with patient care. And that's what we're there for. We want to come and assess you, evaluate you, ask you about your history, your medical history, that is, and try and diagnose what's going on so we can give you the proper treatment. So anyways, just wanted to throw that in there. We advance into the house, okay? There's a gentleman walking around with no shirt on, and a big shark tooth necklace, and the said charm was a shark tooth. So we go into the room, and here's this lady sitting down on her bed in a nightgown, and there's no sheets on the bed, no sheets whatsoever on the bed. And as we looked behind her and on the floor, or right around the opposite side of the bed, we quickly found out why. And it's because she was vomiting all over the place. So they took the sheets off, and it was this dark red vomit. And excuse me. So we're looking around the room, investigating, just like we always do, to try to look for clues, anything that could better give us paint us a better picture of what's actually going on. The boyfriend told us that she had been drinking heavily. We said, "Where's the bottle?" Turns out she's got a huge bottle of red wine, okay? And she downed it all. He said that he didn't really have any of it, and they just got it just a couple hours ago. Well, she downed it all, and so she was going through some withdrawals, apparently. Her body rejected it. And so we were trying to figure out if she had any other medical history, because she was severely altered. Now, you may say, well, you are altered when you're drunk, Lorenzo, and I understand that. But as paramedics, we have to dig deeper. We have to find if there's anything else, because, there's one thing being drunk, and then there's another of being completely just obtunded, which means, the lights are on and no one's home. So we went ahead and transported her to the hospital, and so we go ahead and get our vital signs, and we're getting her ready. And so I'm taking her blood pressure. I'm down on one knee, taking her blood pressure, checking her pulse, checking her respirations, all this good stuff, assessing her skin, and here comes a waterfall of vomit just dribbling down her chest and everything. And so she wanted to change her nightgown. She was somewhat with it. She was pretty obtunded, but she was enough with it to understand and give us back answers that we were asking for. And so the boyfriend is scrambling around. He's never had to call 911 for her. And he's freaking out. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I said, sir, just stand back and we'll let you know if there's something that you can do for us. Right now we're trying to manage this call. And so we don't want any interference. We appreciate your concern and we completely understand. The young lady the middle-aged lady wanted to change her nightgown. And he's asking her, well, what can I do, baby? You need something? What do you need, baby? I'm gonna get the clothes for you. I'll get your change of clothes for you. And so he goes and he starts rummaging through her wardrobe, her dresser. And so he's pulling out the drawers. It's this big wooden wardrobe of a case, and he's looking through and he's throwing stuff out, and he's just finicky and fidgety as he could possibly be. And then all of a sudden, this woman says, when he turns around and he shows her this one, he turns around and he's trying to get her to choose which one she wants, and she says, "No, Joe, that's the wrong dresser completely." All of a sudden, I see the life from this guy's body just disappear. This guy goes from being finicky and fidgety to spaghetti arms and just a spaghetti body. It was just a limp, wet noodle. And he hung his head down. And then all of a sudden, he gets another spark. And he like comes out like this, and he turns around, and he's just as mad as he can be, and he's like, "Joe? Who's Joe? My name ain't Joe. Who's Joe?" And I'm like, oh no. This lady has gotten beside herself to where she basically told on herself that she's been messing around with some guy named Joe, and it ain't her hubby, if you will, that's around to her house trying to look out for her. And so at this point, I expedited the whole process of getting her onto the stretcher and getting her the heck out of that house, because he was getting ready to start thrashing stuff. I could see it. His face was just as red as possible. His ears were red. I mean, he might as well have had steam coming out of his ears and smoke coming off the top, radiating off the top of his head. I mean, this guy was as pissed as I could see. He went from a very compassionate, loving, worrisome boyfriend to all of a sudden, I mean, it was a shift, man. It was a shift. This guy was going mad. So I had to get her out of there before somebody got hurt, including us, because this guy, he wasn't no small fry either. Like I said, he's walking around, sporting his muscles. He's got his necklace on, and that charm that he had, the shark tooth. I mean, this guy was a cowboy, you could tell. And so we got out of there as fast as we could, and I mean, I was happy because I didn't want to see her get hurt. I didn't want to see us have to interfere and get police involved. But at the end of the day, I felt bad for the guy. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't want to get to that point. That's an ugly position to be in. And I've been there myself. And so I can side with you if you've been there too. No one wants to be there. No one wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that girl. Okay? It hurts me to say that I've been that guy. I've been at the workplace, worried about, oh my gosh, where's my girl? She hasn't texted me back. She hasn't called me back. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I going to do? Now, you don't want to be that, okay? I've been there, and it sucks. You do not want to be there. So, next thing I want to give you for some insight is from the book of Proverbs. One of my favorites, the book of wisdom, Proverbs 30:20. It says, "This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong. And for you viewers, I want you to go ahead and insert where it says an adulterous woman or man, because, you know, we can apply this to both sides. So what can we dissect from this? This is the way of an adulterous woman. She eats or man. She eats and wipes her mouth and says, I've done nothing wrong. Two things that I've dissected from there, that I've interpreted. When it mentions she eats, I don't believe they're talking about she eats some oatmeal or she eats an apple and wipes her mouth and does nothing wrong. Because in that situation, she would have, or he would have done nothing wrong. What I get from this verse is that they're doing something that is blatantly, obviously wrong, and then having no type of care about it, no type of humility, no type of guilt behind it. And so that right there is the biblical insight that I wanted to give to you. If you're ever having trouble, you know, trying to diagnose, and you got to be careful. You got to be careful with diagnosing someone like that. You don't want to go around accusing people. But this is more of something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Keep it in your back pocket, because God is telling you, hey, if somebody's constantly doing something wrong, it's blatant, and then they don't give two craps about it, chances are they'll cheat on you as well. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? So, go ahead and keep that in your back pocket. And I just thought that was of value to share with you, because, you know, life is about relationships, largely. Okay? And so I want to make sure you have a good relationship. Hey, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with being single. Did anyone ever tell you that? There's nothing wrong with being single. Okay? No, there's nowhere is it written or is it mandated that you have to have a significant other. You don't. You can go through life living single if you want to. So there's another idea. So, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and hit the like button, comment below if you would like to, and hit the subscribe button as well. Check out my books on Amazon.com. The medical story that I shared with you is from my book, Paramedic: 100 True Tales of a Public Servant. I go into more detail in that particular story. And there's other drama-filled calls in that book as well. So it's called Paramedic: 100 True Tales of a Public Servant. You can find that on Amazon.com, as well as my other book, The Corridor That Lies Between Greatness and Insanity, that will teach you how to deal with struggle God's way. Alright? And you can find them by typing in the title or my name, Lorenzo Hogans II. I'm glad you've joined me for this video, and I will see you the next time.